Assalamu Alaikum everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So in today's video, I want to talk about two different companies that have recently been on the news for not good reasons, right? The first one is 3M. 3M is going through some legal situations, and I've mentioned this a few times, but we haven't really talked about in detail. So we're going to talk about some of the situation that the company is going through right now, and then I will give you my actual, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but I want to talk about exactly what I'm going to do moving forward. The other company is J&J, and this is my biggest holdings. So out of all the stocks that I own in my portfolio, this is the where I have majority of my money. I think it's almost a 5.5% or so of my overall portfolio. And right now the company is going through some legal situations, and this is not something new to me. This was kind of ongoing situation. They have been paying some legal basically lawsuits for a while now, and I thought this was almost finished, almost coming to an end, but it is not. It has not happened. So I'm going to share with you guys my thoughts for both companies and what I'm going to do moving forward. But before I do that, if you like this type of content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. And also, before I actually go through this whole thing, I want you to know this is just my opinion, okay? It could go completely the opposite of what I'm about to say today, and then these companies could go to zero and so on. So you have to be really careful. This is my own money that I'm risking. I've got almost £3,000 in there. I've got another basically 1,700 here, so I'm losing quite a bit of money. God forbid if these two companies go to zero, but I want you to take that risk, knowing that what you're investing in and basically the risk that you're taking. The stock market is just there's always a risk, right? But the risk reward kind of thing you have to worry about. At the same time, just make sure you are doing your own research and you are happy. If you have Johnson & Johnson in your portfolio, just be happy that you've done your own research and you know why you're holding that company. Because tomorrow if they report and something crazy happens, are you going to stick with the company, or are you going to sell it? Are you going to feel bad? Are you going to worry about it? Are you going to blame somebody else? Those are two questions that you need to ask yourself. So first, I'm just going to share with you guys a quick video from CNBC when this first was reported, because I wasn't sure what was going on. So I watched the news on that day on the CNBC, and this is basically what some of the things they're talking about. So as the video goes along, I will stop it and then elaborate some of the things that they're saying, okay?
J shares, they're falling today on new developments in the company's talc bankruptcy case. Our Meg Terrell joins us now with more. This report just came out a short time ago. Shares started moving. Feels like it's just filtering through the market. Meg, what do we need to know?
Yeah, Scott, this is a big decision by the U.S. Appeals Court, essentially tossing out J&J's attempt to put its talc liabilities into bankruptcy. Now, this has been going on for a long time now, and there are more than 38,000 suits that have been filed against J&J claiming that its talc, baby powder, and similar products have been linked to cancer. Now, as J&J was litigating these individually, it won some, it lost some were settled. One award it had to pay was more than $2 billion. And so it did this sort of complicated maneuver known as a Texas two-step, where it took out the liabilities and put them into its own unit and then filed that for bankruptcy. And this has been working its way through the court system.
And as you can see here, this is not something that started just yesterday. They have been obviously going on for a while. They have been paying these legal lawsuits for a while as well. But this is basically one of the reasons we're talking about today is because the court has rejected basically what J&J was trying to do.
But now this appeals court has essentially said that's not going to work. They say, quote, good intentions such as to protect the J&J brand or comprehensively resolve litigation do not suffice alone. What counts to access the bankruptcy code's safe harbor is to meet its intended purposes. Only a putative debtor in financial distress can do so. LTL, which is the name of that entity it created, was not. Thus, we dismiss its petition.
So what's going on here is J&J have realized, okay, we have situation going on with this legal situation, right? Then what they've decided to do is they create their own company, basically another company, another entity of basically the same company, and then they move all the legal stuff to all the lawsuits to that company, and then they got rid of that company by using bankruptcy law. Now that worked before for a lot of different companies, okay, and we will see 3M is also trying to do the same thing with their situation as well. But then the court turned around and said, absolutely no, you can't use that. If you want to do this, if the company is in financial distress, if something is going on with the company and they can no longer pay their debt and so on, then the company basically can go through the bankruptcy law or Chapter 11. That is one of the reasons why it was rejected, and it's interesting.
J&J already saying here it plans to challenge the Third Circuit's ruling. It says it initiated this process in good faith, and its objective has been to equitably resolve claims related to the company's cosmetic talc litigation. It says the ruling does not reflect the facts established during the bankruptcy court's trial regarding the appropriateness of the formation and filing, nor is the company's intention to efficiently resolve the cosmetic talc litigation for the benefit of all parties, including current and future claimants. So this is going to continue. They could potentially appeal. We'll see if they take it up to an even higher court. And it's got to be very interesting if they did so, because they are not the only company to try to use this quote-unquote Texas two-step idea. This is something that's been used a number of times before. So whether the Supreme Court wants to take that up and consider it as a larger corporate question could be something to watch. Scott?
We're definitely watching it today. You mentioned a $2 billion, I think you said, resolution in one of the cases. Do you have any idea what estimates have been or may be in terms of total liability that J&J could face as a result of all of this litigation?
It's so hard to try to figure that out because, 38,000 cases, potentially more coming in. And J&J's whole argument in doing this was it said, we can't take on all of these individually. We have to, put a stop to it somehow and, set aside a certain amount of money. They said $2 billion they'd sort of put aside for this, for all of it. If they have to take it back now and go through these one by one, what could that amount to? I haven't seen good estimates on that, and maybe we'll start to see them now as analysts start to parse through this.
And this is the thing for me. Although the company has a lot of money, okay, they can easily fight this. But what they're worried about is more people coming out. And I'm sure sooner or later they can settle this. So what would it cost for this company to settle this whole thing? And I was just reading through the latest report that was on the Morning Star. And what they're saying is, right, so you can pause the video and read through this. But what they're saying is, it could potentially cost, this litigation could potentially cost about $6 billion, okay? And then maybe another additional $2 billion, okay, along with that basically additional projected $2 billion. So give or take $8 billion. Now we're talking about a company that has market cap of $426 billion, right? And it has a free cash flow of $17.7 billion. So it's a huge company. They have a lot of cash coming in, okay? And one of the things I like about Morningstar is the fact that it's saying this, they're not worried about the fact that this is going on at the moment. It's not going to impact the valuation of the company. Also, in terms of the company being a white mode company, so this white mode company, it's not going to impact that because that comes from largely based on the intangible assets and switching costs from the drug and device segments. So as you know, J&J is going through a spin-off. They will spin off one part of their business, which is the consumer side of it. So the consumer business will soon become its own business. And what will be left is the drug and device segment. So that side is actually protected, and that's the bit with the white mode. So the one that might be impacted a lot more is probably the consumer side of it. So this is a huge company. I don't think it's going to have any problem basically dealing with this situation. They have dealt with this type of basically things before. I sympathize with anyone who's basically been impacted by what this company has done or allegedly has done. But it's really important that as investors, we don't just jump straight into, obviously, if that is for you, if you feel like, okay, this company is too much of a hassle, I don't want it in my portfolio, sell it, buy something else and go with it. But personally, what am I doing? I'm holding on to this company. I have not bought any shares of this business for a very long time. And the reason is because the value, as you can see, all of that is just dividend coming in. The last time I actually bought anything, it was a half a share, and that was February 22. It is literally almost a year ago that I actually bought that half a share. So I haven't touched it in a while, and the reason is because I don't feel like is undervalued at the moment. So if it comes back down because of the legal situation, I'm more than happy to actually hold it. And when you look at it, to be honest, it hasn't actually come down. The last 3 months is down about 5%. Okay, just one this month is about almost 10%, and then the week is actually up, and just today is a bit down a little bit. So it hasn't actually impacted the overall price of this company at all. So when it comes to J&J, I'm holding on to it. I'm going to leave it in my portfolio and then see how things go from now on. The other company I want to talk about is this company here. This company is going through similar sort of a situation as well. So just to give you the background, the 3M basically makes these earplugs that the US soldiers were using. And in fact, it wasn't the 3M company that had this basically product in the first place. It was this company called Aerial Technology Inc. And they bought this company in 2007. But between 2003 and 2015, that's when this company was selling these earplugs to the US soldiers. And then what happened? They apparently were not doing his job, which meant they actually ruined the veterans' ears and so on. And they now been lawsuits basically started about a year and a bit ago, and it's still ongoing thing. They tried to do the same thing J&J was trying to do, which was created basically Texas two-step thing, where they also created another entity, another company, and they tried to offload everything to that company and then file for bankruptcy and that way get rid of it. Okay, the 3M actually has already paid a lot of money towards this thing. So December 2021, 3M actually paid $22.5 million, okay, on a verdict basically on the military earplug trial. And this, I think, was awarded to 2 people, if I remember correctly, or 1 person. And after that, the whole thing started kicking off, right? So we're now in a situation where 3M has to either make the payment, okay, or somehow fight this. And they decided to fight this. Okay, they are still going through. One of the things that I've read today, and while I was doing the research, is that 3M has spoken. Basically, what happens is basically the US military have requested the earplugs. They designed. They asked, what would you like? And so obviously, as the normal product line, they've told them what they would like. The 3M went away and did it. Then they tested and all that stuff, and they gave it to the army. They obviously tested and then made sure it was fine. And after that, obviously, the sale process started, right? Now, what 3M is saying is, you've asked us to do this and we did it for you. Because one thing that was happening, and I was quite surprised, is So what 3M is saying is, basically, they were absolutely fine. There was nothing wrong with it. But if you are not wearing them appropriately, that's where the problem comes in. And they're arguing, obviously, we made the design, you've asked for it. If you are not wearing it correctly, then that's your fault kind of thing. So it's still ongoing. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. They've already awarded some people, okay? The rest of it, the only my main concern about this company right now is 2 things, right? The first one is how much are they going to end up paying if they have to settle this thing? Number 1. And number 2, in terms of growth side of this company, it's not that much. So looking at this in terms of revenue growth expectation next year, so this is just the estimates, 31.7, 32.7, 33.5. So to be honest with you, this is the reason I bought basically this company is not just because of the growth side of it. It's because for the dividends, right? That solid dividend that they have been paying, they're dividend king. They have increased that dividend for a very, very long time. And that was the reason that I was holding it. And that probably 3% growth every single year, which was absolutely fine. This 4%, 4% plus the 3%, that's a decent 7-8% return on your investment. And looking at their dividend safety, right now it's 77%. As you can see, it's over 5% in terms of dividend yield. Okay, they're no small company, they're no huge company either, only $64 billion. And in terms of growth, there's almost non-existent, but they're only growing about 5% or more, which is absolutely fine. So my main concern for this company going forward is the growth side of it, and as well as the legal side of it. If they can settle the legal and without having to pay anything more than, say, $5-6 billion, because they do have some cash. Let me quickly show you. So they do have $3.8 billion in free cash flow, which is quite good. And obviously the white mode basically company, and a lot of that comes from the fact that this company owns over, I don't know, 6,000 different products, and a lot of it they have a patent, meaning no one can actually design the type of products that they have. So they kind of monopolize in loads of different markets, if you like, for now anyway. And for that reason, I thought, you know what, this is a decent company that I can hold in my portfolio, and I don't have to worry about too much about, you know, anything else. But right now it's becoming a little bit of concern for what the situation is with that legal, especially with the US Army. I'm not sure if they're going to win this. I don't know how they're going to maneuver this. I was hoping the Texas 2 steps or having a bankruptcy situation would have sorted this thing, but it hasn't. So in going forward, like I said in my last video, when I talked about the entire portfolio, if you haven't seen that video, by the way, go and watch it. If you haven't liked the video either yet, please do subscribe to the channel and like the videos. So what I want to do is I want to break even and then sell it. Because guess what? One of the reasons I love this company is the dividends. But having said that, there's a lot of growth stocks, basically dividend growth stocks out there that I could potentially add to my portfolio or buy more of. And one of those companies is Air Automatic Data Processing or Air Products and Chemicals. I like these companies better right now than 3M. Although 3M is a dividend king, these companies are great. Even Broadcom is actually a great company. I will take every penny from this company and put it into Cisco, which has a very low debt, solid dividend, and they are in the right space. Okay, the Internet of Things, security side of things, all of that stuff that I know of, right? And I can easily tell you where it's heading. So yeah, there's a lot of other companies in my portfolio or not in the portfolio. Even S&P Global, I don't mind putting those 2,000 whatever it is into that company. So this one I will wait for until I break even. If the situation, if this changes completely, then I don't know, I don't think they can start growing that fast or change that situation quickly. So I'm going to leave it for now until I break even, then I'm going to sell it. But with J&J, it's definitely not going anywhere anytime soon, and I will going to quick monitor the situation. If it comes down quite a bit, I will buy more of, and then I'll hold on to it, and then we will see. The spin-off will happen around between September and end of next year. I think that's what they said in the recent call. So we will see when the spin-off happens, basically how they decide to spin it off and so on. I'm gonna look into that soon as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the being transparent. I'm just kind of giving you my ideas and what I think is basically what I'm going to do with these two companies. But please don't take that as a financial advice. You have to make your own decisions. Like I said to you earlier, 5.5% of my portfolio is J&J, and then 3M is 4.2% of my portfolio. So we're looking at almost 10% of my portfolio could potentially go to zero. I'm taking that risk. Please don't take that risk. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu Alaikum.